皆さん、こんにちは. Today we're going to cover reading comprehension at the N3 JLPT level. Today, I'll be showing you how we need to tackle JLPT N3 level texts. First of all, what we're going to do is going to read an actual JLPT N3 level text, and we're going to be answering the questions. I'll show you exactly what we need to be looking for and be careful with. じゃあ、始めましょう. Remember that you can get a free and customized assessment of your current Japanese skills at carloscoordinator.com.
街やビルで見かける飲み物の自動販売機は便利だが、夜誰も使っていないのに明かりがついているのを見ると、電気代を無駄遣いしているように感じられる。しかし、実は自動販売機はエネルギーを節約する技術が非常に進んでいる機械である。そこにはどのような工夫があるのだろうか。まず、冷たい飲み物や全部を冷やすのではなく、売る直前の分だけ冷やすようになっている。自動販売機の中にあるコンピュータが、曜日や時間による売れ方が変化を見て、最小限の数だけを冷やすのである。だから、電気代が少なくて済む。また、冷たい飲み物と温かい飲み物を同時に売る自動販売機の場合、冷たい飲み物を冷やした時に出る熱を使って、温かい飲み物を温めることができるようになっている。以上のような様々な技術によって、自動販売機は電力の消費を減らすことができたのである。
We know that reading comprehension or dokkai is the hardest part at any JLPT level. Here we're going to cover the 5 main problems that JLPT N3 learners have to tackle with. First of all, keywords. Then vocabulary, conjugations, grammar patterns, and abstract thought processes. Let's start with the first one. The first problem we're going to tackle is finding the keyword or keywords that the text has. I'm going to give you some tips. The keywords or keyword is usually found in all paragraphs of the text and is likely to be repeated not as a whole, but also their kanji are likely to be repeated as well. Were you able to find the keyword or keywords that the text has? These are the keywords that the text has. First of all, 自動販売機. Then, 電気, 電気代 or 電力. And finally, 技術. The first word, we might not know what it means, but we know that it has the kanjis of selling as the first han and the first bai, and machine. So we know it's the machine that sells things. In what way? 自動, ji means by oneself, and do means to move. Therefore, automatic. Yes, 自動販売機 is a vending machine. Then we have 電気, that I'm sure you guys know it means electricity. 電気代, we know that when we add the suffix 代 to the end of a word that has 2 kanji, it means something like the price of. In this case, 電気代, our electricity fee. And finally, 電力. We know that the kunyomi for 力 is 力. So this is electric power. Finally, we have 技術. We might have seen this jutsu, for instance, in the word bijutsu or bijutsukan, fine art or art gallery. Gijutsu means technique or technology. Now we move on to problem number 2, vocabulary. I'm going to help you find ways of understanding and guessing meaning of the words that we have in the text. The words that have the check mark can actually be easily or easily to extent guessed. And the danger sign shows words that are very hard to guess, even if we have context. So we're going to go over the words and read them very quickly. We have benri, convenient. Akari. We might know what akari is because it's the same kanji as akarui, bright. Akari means light. Then we have mudazukai. We might know muda, like muda ni shinaide, don't waste it. And then we have zukai, that comes from tsukau, to use. So, mudazukai or mudazukai o suru is to be wasteful. Then we have setsuyaku. The kanji here don't really help in guessing the meaning. Setsuyaku suru means to economize, to save, either money or in this case, electricity. Then we have hijoni. Hijoni is pretty easy to learn. because we have hi, which means not or non, and jo, whose kunyomi is tsuneni, meaning always. So hijoni, not always, literally, means extremely. Hijoni, extremely. The formal way of saying totemo. Then we have susumu, to advance. Kikai, whose kanji we might not know, and it means machine. If we use the kai as in au to meet people, kikai means opportunity. So let's make sure that we remember both words, kikai, opportunity, and machine, as we have here. Kufu is a word that is only used, that only has this kanji for the ateji, has nothing to do with otto, husband. Kufu means idea. Then we have hiyasu. If we look very closely, we see that hiyasu uses the same kanji as tsumetai, cold. Hiyasu means to cool, as in biru wo hiyasu, to cool beer. We have chokuzen. We know that choku means something like right, fix, and zen means mae, before. So chokuzen, right before. We have henka. We know that hen means weird, and its kunyomi is kaeru or kawaru, to change. Therefore, henka wa a change. Saishougen, we might not know gen, whose kunyomi is kagiru, to be limited to, but we probably know sai as in mottomo, the most, and shou, chisai, smallest. Saishougen means therefore the minimum, the most small, limited to. Then we have kazu, number. Doji, we can guess the meaning of doji because do means onaji, same, and ji means time, toki. So doji, same time, it's that, simultaneously, at the same time. Then we have shohi. We probably don't know the kunyomi for shohi no hi, which is tsuiyasu, to spend, either money or time. But we probably know the kunyomi for shohi no sho. This is kesu, to delete or to turn off. Shohi, from that meaning of to delete, we have consumption. Finally, we have hirasu, which means to diminish. We're going to be covering the next problem, which is conjugations, katsuyo. Here we have 5 sentences that include a grammar point or a conjugation that we need to be able to correctly interpret. We have daremo tsukatte inai no ni. Tsukatte inai means to not be using. So even though no one is using it, no ni means even though. Then we have akari ga tsuiteiru no o miru to. We know that if we only had the first part of the sentence, akari ga tsuiteiru means the light is on. And akari ga tsuiteiru no makes it a subordinate sentence. Therefore, akari ga tsuiteiru no o miru to means when you look at the fact that the lights are on, when you look at the lights being turned on. Then we have 無駄遣いしているように感じられる. It is felt, or it can be felt, as it's being wasteful. Then the fourth sentence, 技術は非常に進んでいる. The technology is very 非常に advanced, has advanced a lot. And finally, 電力の消費を減らすことができたのである. We have been able to diminish the consumption of electrical current. Now we're going to be covering grammar patterns, bunpo pattern. We're going to be reading the words and understanding how they're built in order to comprehend the meaning of the sentence. Here we have a word that contains both wa and ga. 自動販売機はエネルギーを節約する技術が非常に進んでいる機械である. Whenever we have both wa and ga in a sentence, we have to find the main wa, or ga. In this case, it's the first one. We know this because its main verb, the verb for 自動販売機 is である. So if we translate this, it means something along the lines of vending machines, 自動販売機は are である, a machine, 機械, and then we need to go to 技術. So we have エネルギーを節約する技術が非常に進んでいる. Therefore, vending machines are machines whose technology to save up energy is very advanced. Then we have the second sentence. 冷たい飲み物は全部を冷やすのではなく、売る直前の分だけ冷やすようになっている. Let's remember the grammar point ようになっている. It has been said as if 何々々 Here we have cold drinks 冷たい飲み物は are built in water so that they cool 冷やす only the part 分 that is going to be only the part right before it's going to be sold 売る直前の分だけ and not everything 全部を冷やすのではなく The third sentence コンピュータが曜日や時間による売れ方の変化を見て最小限の数だけを冷やすのであるだから電気代が少なくて済む Here we have a long sentence that contains the grammar point によるによるによる means something along the lines of depending on so computers コンピュータが we found the main が look at the change 変化を見て of the change at how something is being sold 売れ方depending on time and day of the week 曜日や時間による and they cool off 冷やすのである only the number 数だけ which is the minimum only the minimum number 最小限の数だけ therefore だから電気代が少なくて済む let's remember the grammar point adjective in くて form and 済む which means we have this and we don't have to do anything else therefore the price of electricity is low and we don't have to do anything else. There's no more effort that we need to pay to this. Finally, we have the last grammar patterns that the text contains. 冷たい飲み物と温かい飲み物を同時に売る自動販売機の場合は、冷たい飲み物を冷やした時に出る熱を使って、温かい飲み物を温めることができるようになっている。Here we have again the grammar point するように or できるようになっている We can It has been made in a way that now we can And the grammar point by which means in the case of 何々々 Therefore, in the case of vending machines 自動販売機の場合は that sell 売る同時に at the same time warm drinks and cold drinks 冷たい飲み物と温かい飲み物 They use使って the heat 熱 that comes out 出る、when cooling off 冷やした時に cold drinks and it is made so that as we can できるようになっている warm 温める warm drinks 温かい飲み物 So if we put it into a whole thing In the case of vending machines that sell at the same time warm drinks and cold drinks, they use the heat that comes out when cooling off cold drinks, and it is made in a way such as they can warm up warm drinks. The last sentence that we have is 様々な技術によって自動販売機は電力の消費を減らすことができたのである which we talked already about.Here we have the grammar point によって which means through of or by means of. So by means of various technologies 様々な技術によって自動販売機は電力の消費を減らすことができたのである。And finally we get to the main point of reading comprehension which is abstract thought. Exactly what do we need to understand in order to solve the problems, the questions correctly? What we want to know is, do we know every single point that each of the paragraphs have? And therefore, do we understand the main point of the text? I'm going to give you some time to read the text on your own again, but this time making sure that you understand the points that the text covers. Usually there is a point by paragraph. I'll give you some time. Feel free to pause the video if you need to.
Now, I'm going to let you go and solve the questions by yourself. At the end of this section, I will do the same thing myself, but adding some extra explanations and some tips on how we can solve JLPT N3 reading comprehension questions. The first question that we have is this one. 問1、自動販売機が電気を無駄遣いをしているように見えるのはなぜか？問2、自動販売機の飲み物の冷やし方として正しいものはどれか？問3、自動販売機のエネルギーの節約方法として正しいものはどれか？ Now, I'm going to go ahead and find the points of every single paragraph. What I'm going to be doing is carrying out a direct translation and then finally finding the point. You can use direct translation in order to make sure that you understand what you're reading. Paragraph 1. Drink vending machines that we see in buildings or the city are convenient, but at night, even though no one is using them, when we see that the lights are on, it can be felt as if they are wasting electricity. Paragraph 2, starting with しかし. However, in fact, vending machines are machines whose technology to save up electricity is highly advanced. What type of ideas are they using? Third paragraph, starting with まず. First, when it comes to cold drinks, they don't cool them all. They are made in order so they only have to cool the part that is going to be sold right before. The computers that are inside vending machines look at the changes of the way drinks are being sold depending on the time of the day and the date, and only cool the minimum number. Because of this, their electricity fee is low, and that's it. There's no need to do anything else. Next paragraph, starting with また. Also, in the case of vending machines that sell cold drinks and warm drinks at the same time, they use the heat that comes out when cooling off cold drinks, and they are built so as they can warm drinks. Last paragraph, starting with 以上. Through or by means of these various technologies that we have discussed above, vending machines have been able to diminish the consumption of electrical current. Now we can see the abstract ideas behind each of the paragraphs. The first one, it seems that machines are wasteful. Vending machines are wasteful. Second paragraph, in fact, that is not that. They use a lot of technologies in order not to do that. Next paragraph, they use computers and they only cool the drinks that are going to be selling right away, and that's how they lower their electricity consumption. And the next paragraph, in the case of vending machines that sell both on warm and hot drinks, they can use the heat that comes out from cooling off the cold drinks to warm up the warm drinks. Final paragraph, we have the conclusion. That's how they lower their electricity consumption. Now I'm going to be answering the questions. The first one that we have is 自動販売機が電気を無駄遣いしているように見えるのはなぜか? Why does it seem as though vending machines are wasting electricity? Instead of going to the options right away, let's remember, why was it? If we go back, we'll remember that it's because even though no one is using them, for instance, at night, the lights are still on. Therefore, we know that the correct answer in this case is number 2. We know number 1 is not correct because their technologies haven't been advanced. Number 3 is not correct because there's people who use them. The text doesn't mention that at all. And finally, not the last one because the text doesn't mention that it's because there's many vending machines. There's many places that have these vending machines. Question number 2. 自動販売機の飲み物の冷やし方として正しいものはどれか? So, as means of cooling off drinks that are on the vending machines, which one is the correct one? Do you remember the options that we have in order to cool out drinks? Let's see if the answers help us out. The first one is 急に冷やすのではなくコンピュータで管理しながらゆっくり冷やす. They don't cool them out right away or suddenly with a computer that cool them down little by little. We know that is not correct. The text doesn't mention that. So number one is incorrect. Number two, コンピュータによって売る直前に短い時間で冷やす. Through computer, we cool them in a short amount of time right before they are being sold. We know that this has been mentioned in the text, but it's not that they cool off in a short period of time. It's that they only cool off the minimum number that they are going to sell, the parts that right before are going to be sold. So we know that is not correct. Number three is that the computer looks for changes in temperature and then cools them out. We know that's not what computers do. And we come then to number four. コンピュータがいつどのぐらい揺れるかわかるのでその分だけを冷やす. The computer, or with a computer, we know how many they're going to be sold and when, and they only cool off that amount. We know that is the correct one, as we were able to see on paragraph number 3. And here we have the last one. 自動販売機のエネルギーの節約方法として正しいものはどれか? In regards of means of saving up electricity that vending machines have, which one is the correct one? Some of them were mentioned, so let's go ahead and see if we can check them. We have number one, 冷たい飲み物を冷やすと熱が出るので、それで温かい飲み物を温める. So, because heat comes out when we cool off cold drinks, with that we warm drinks. That's actually correct, but we're gonna try to find the most correct one. Let's see number two. 温かい飲み物から出た熱を利用して冷たい飲み物を冷やす. Using the heat that came out from warm drinks, they cool off cold drinks. We know that that's not true, that's the opposite. Then we have number three, 温かい飲み物は冷たい飲み物と同じ自動販売機で売らない. We know that this is not true. We do have indeed vending machines that sell both warm and cold drinks. So this one is not correct. And finally, 温かい飲み物は自動販売機の明かりの熱で温める. So regarding warm drinks, using the heat from the light of the vending machine, we warm them up. We know that that is not correct. Light is mentioned in the text, but not there. Were all your answers correct? Did you had a full comprehension of the text that we worked with? The point of the video was to make sure that you know exactly what you are struggling with when it comes to N3 reading comprehension, the hardest part of the JLPT. If you have questions, would you like to check out some of the classes or online courses that I offer? Make sure that you check carloscoordinator.com. Please also feel free to reach through email or send me a message on LinkedIn. 大変お疲れ様でした。それじゃあ、またね。